Welcome to Running the Defense, your weekly dose of insights, strategies, and real-world stories from the front lines of insurance defense. I'm Greg Lois. Join me as we explore what it really takes to run a great defense firm. A law firm's a really unique business because everything valuable walks out the door every night at 5 p.m. and then the company magically reconstitutes the next day at 9 a.m. because really, the firm is nothing more than the sum total of the talent of the attorneys and paraprofessionals and operational staff that make up the firm. That's your stock in trade. It's your people, your talent. It's the most important thing you have. It's the key to everything. Everything else that the firm possesses, like a brand or even processes, are less important than the people. And if you're a leader of a law firm and a leader of a growing law firm, the most important decision you're going to make every day is not, hey, what should we spend our marketing dollars on, or what kind of fun thing can we do? It's really the most important thing you're going to be able to make an impact on is the hiring process, the interview process, the selection process of the talent that comes in the door. That's the most important decision you make every day, and not enough time and attention is spent on it. I can tell you that when I talk to other law firm leaders, they tell me that recruiting and talent acquisition, attrition, continuity of talent, those are their biggest issues that they're currently facing today. And particularly in the defense sector, that's one of our biggest pressures, is holding on to our workforce, investing in our workforce, and developing our workforce. So that's what I'm going to start off talking about today. I'm going to talk a lot about our predictive hiring model here at Lois. And then I'm going to talk a little bit on my second topic. I'm going to talk a little bit more about how do we ramp people up once we get them in the door. So I'm going to talk about some of the mistakes we've made, because if you're running a big company, you make mistakes. You have to make mistakes. It's part of the story. What we did to correct it and what we're doing now. So let me start off with a statistic. 80% of turnover is due to bad hiring decisions. I absolutely agree with that. There are so many times when after there has been attrition or turnover, you've had to terminate someone, you say, you know what? They were probably never right for this place from the beginning. So how do you avoid that? How do you avoid those regrets and all that time and effort and investment wasted? How do you avoid that? I can tell you that we've done a lot over the last year or so to really invest into our recruiting process, and I want to give you the benefits of what we've learned. My name is Greg Lois. I run Lois Law Firm. I started Lois Law Firm less than 10 years ago. It was just me and a few friends. And now we are more than 50 attorneys, about 150 staff. We are an 8-figure law firm and growing. So how do you keep growing? How do you keep finding the right people that are going to serve your clients well and form a great internal community of colleagues, of people you get along with and that get along with you? I mean, how do you do that? So I can tell you we've stumbled, we've been challenged, we've had obstacles, but in the last year or so, we've really adopted a set of practices that I think are really working well, and I want to share those with you. So first, I'm going to point you at a book. I love books. I love reading them. I love anything to do with getting better at business or personal improvement. Here's a book that I've bought and handed out to everybody that's involved in our recruiting or interviewing process here at Lois. And this book is called The Predictive Hiring Model, 6 Disciplines to Get It Right Every Time. And it's written by Chad Carter. Excellent book. Highly recommend. You can find this on Amazon. I've been handing these things out like they're fun gifts to people that work here. I don't know if anyone's ever read it. But if you don't want to read the book, Chad Carter is the author of this predictive hiring model, which is the model that we deployed here. And you can go on YouTube and Google him up, and you'll find lots of videos that he's produced that explain his model. So, if you're looking for, what's the next thing to do here, I would, go check that out. It's a great book. But I'm going to give you some of the highlights and how we apply them to the law firm context. So what he talks a lot about is using the interview and recruitment process as a filtering process. There's another great book that I would direct you to. It's called Getting to Know. And really that book's about asking the right questions so that the person that you're interacting with can self-select out of the process that you're in. And that's really important because you don't want in a recruiting process or an interviewing process to be selling, to be marketing, to be persuading the other party to join your team. You want them to be explaining to you or helping convince you that they're aligned with what you're doing and that they would be a great asset to join your team. And that's a bit of a different mindset. And we have to be in this mindset of, hey, we're going to authentically and transparently talk about our company, our business, our mission, our vision, our values, and let the other person say, I align with that. I want to be part of this or not. And we also have to listen. My partner Ron says, hey, you learn a lot more with your ears than you do with your mouth. And I think he's entirely right about that. So let me just talk about what the predictive hiring model is, what it demands of us as the hiring entity, and how we have applied it here. And I'm even going to go through some of the actual hiring questions that we ask. And I'll even talk about how I conduct interviews, because I'm hoping that this is useful. If you're in a leadership position in a law firm right now, or you're trying to grow your law firm, you're not going to be able to be successful as a law firm. You're not going to be able to grow your business unless you can acquire the right talent. The people that you interview, that you filter, that you allow to become part of your organization, that becomes the experience for your clients. So this is the most critical decision that you can make every day. And I know you're saying to yourself, Greg, I'm a managing partner. I'm so busy. I'm so important. Yeah, sure you are. But really the most important thing you could be doing is making sure that you're bringing in great people, because that's also going to be the work experience for all of your other employees. So this is really, really key. So let's talk about what the predictive hiring model is. First, it says there's 5 C's. 5 things that you need to be exploring and developing and learning about during that onboarding and interviewing process. So let's talk about the 5 things that Chad Carter says. The first one is character. And there are 5 C's, by the way, his 5 C's of hiring. So we're trying to explore, what is the candidate's character? And he says that's their integrity and their values. Well, that's an important thing to explore with them. But I will tell you first, you got to do your homework. You have to decide, what are our values? What are the values of this company, of this law firm? At Lois Law Firm, we have very clear values. Those values are creativity, okay, thinking outside of the box, bringing your whole self to work and really trying to work on challenges and problems. And that means for clients and also internally. Our next value is advocacy. We're here to obtain a result. That means we have to stand up on our 2 feet for our clients. We have to be advocates in the courtroom. Our next value is professionalism. We are a very ethical and integrous organization, and that is really the boundary on how creative and how much of an aggressive advocate you can be. And the last value is service. We recognize, hey, we're attorneys, we're paraprofessionals, we're operational staff, and we're here to serve others. So we all have the heart and mind of a servant. So those are our 4 values. Well, when we tell that to candidates during the interview process, they're going to let you know whether they're aligned with those values or not. And you have to listen to what they say and ask them the right questions so you can determine if their character is aligning with what your goals are or your vision is for your company. So that's the first one, character. The next one is calling. Is this person called to participate, to commit themselves to what you're doing? Is this important to them? Okay, do they have a sense of purpose or a sense of alignment with what you're trying to achieve as a company? So you've got to test their calling. The third thing is their chemistry. What is their fit going to be like here within our organization? Are they going to fit in? Chemistry is incredibly important, particularly in an interview. I conduct the interviews. If I'm in the interview with this person saying, I can't wait to get out of this room, well, I know the chemistry's off, and I'm not going to want to work with this person for the next 20 years of their life, right? So let's be upfront and honest about, hey, there has to be chemistry in that room. We have to feel like this is someone that's aligned with us and that we can communicate with. The next C is competence. Do they have the ability, the skill set to actually be a participant in the game that you're playing? Can they do this thing? And from the attorney perspective, competence isn't just you passed the bar exam or you went to law school. That's cute, right? Almost nothing that you learn in law school is going to really apply when you're actually out here lawyering, right? There's entire huge areas of our function that have nothing to do with what you've learned in law school. So it's really not just, I got this degree, Greg, I have this credential, you should hire me. We really are going to say, hey, is this person going to be a competent fit? Are they going to be able to contribute to the mission of this overall company? Are they going to be able to perform this job effectively, and how quickly? And really, you're going to look a lot at, have they been effective in the past? Were they able to competently contribute to the organization? And the last thing is their contribution. Do they want to participate? Are they ready to contribute? Do they have a work ethic? Are they have that, I want to do this. This is important to me, right? So those are your 5 C's: character, calling, chemistry, competence, and contribution. Those are the things you're looking for to test and to find out about. And the questions you ask really need to be tailored to that. Okay, so let's dive into the predictive interview questions. What are the kinds of questions we're asking? So these are the things that we're actually going through with candidates, which lead you to explore those issues of character, calling, chemistry, contribution, and competence. Right? These are the questions you need to ask. So here's the first question. Now, again, I'm looking at Chad Carter's questions, and his first one is, what circumstances led you to seek this opportunity? So I ask that a little bit of a different way. I say, hey, why are we here today? What brought you here today? And that's really getting to both character and also calling. I'm asking them to explain to me why I should give them an opportunity to join our organization. So that's one of the most important questions. And then you've got to sit back and just listen and say, what are they going to tell me? What is their story? And what are the things you're looking for? And I know in my organization, we are representing our clients in very adversarial proceedings, and sometimes in front of hostile courts and different courts at best. So I need someone who's really got a sense of mission about why this is important to them, why this job is important to them, and take the time to listen to them. And I don't want to hear someone just say, well, I went to law school, and so now it's time for me to get my job as an attorney. Like, tell me exactly what about Lois is attracting to you. What is it about our system that you're interested in? What is it about this area of law that calls to you? Those are the questions that I want to hear them answer. And I don't spend much time drawing that out of people. I'm expecting that they're coming to this interview to sell me on why I should give them this opportunity. Not for me to talk them into it or answer a never-ending series of questions which seem to be about motivation. So first question I always lead off with is, why are we here today? Chad Carter would say, what circumstances led you to seek this opportunity? And then we start asking questions about how they deal with specific issues at work. Okay, here's a question. How do you handle situations where a colleague fails to complete their assigned tasks? In your opinion, what distinguishes a good job from an exceptional one? What have you done when you failed to meet a work deadline or requirement? How did you fix it? Again, that goes to character. All these questions are helping draw a picture of, is this person aligned with your values? Are they going to be a good fit on that character spectrum? The next set of questions has to be evaluating the the calling of the candidate. So what aspects of this job are you seeking that your current position lacks? Why is this specific opportunity interesting to you? What inspires you to apply for this job? A good question is, why did you become a lawyer, right? If their answer is, well, I didn't want to get a job, or there's a lot of lawyers in my family, that's not usually a very compelling reason. I really want to hear about what is it about this role or this opportunity that speaks to them and that's important to them. The next set of questions is usually trying to evaluate some chemistry, although to be frank, oftentimes you can just tell, is it an open, authentic conversation? Is there good eye contact? Is the candidate able to talk about holes in their resume or give you good explanations for why they moved from position to position? Just sort of standard questions on that. But ask them things about what kind of work environment they're looking for. So again, we're looking at, are we having a good conversation with this person? But ask them questions like, what kind of place do you like to work at? What do you appreciate the most in your colleagues? What are you looking for in a work environment? And see what they say, and see if that aligns with the work opportunity that you have. When someone tells me, well, I like working at a place where everybody, there's a learning environment or an emphasis on upskilling, or I want to work in a place where I feel like the ownership invests in me and wants me to succeed. Well, I know those are great answers because those are things that we do here, and that helps me understand, hey, we're going to probably have a good chemistry here. Next, competence. You want to explore competence with the interviewee and give them an opportunity to explain their specific competencies, what they're comfortable with, what's in their skill set, what do they feel they're strong on, what do they think needs needs work. So you'll ask specific questions like, have you had simultaneous cases going on? What kind of client management have you done in your current role? Or have you enjoyed? Specific things to get them to explain to you, and hopefully with anecdotes, hopefully with stories, rather than just sort of general statements. I'm looking for war stories here on stories of how they juggled multiple cases, maybe different types of clients, because we have clients in every single business sector, and how they interact with them, how they built relatedness, those types of things. And the last thing I want to explore is their opportunity or ability of them to contribute quickly to the company. So, we're going to ask them questions about how they contributed to organizations they were part of in the past. And some of them might not have an extensive work history, but I'm going to ask them, in any job you've had, even a summer job as a lifeguard, I don't care what it was, how did you interact with your supervisors? What kind of performance reviews did you get in the past? What kind of feedback did you get? How did you like getting that feedback? What did you do with the feedback? So those are the kinds of things that we're going to want to hear from them. And only after we go through all of this, then do we turn it over to the interviewee and say, hey, do you have any questions to ask of us? And hopefully this has been a good conversation, and it spurred some thoughts or some ideas, and they're going to have some great questions for you. I will tell you that if the person says, I have no questions for you, well, chemistry's probably off there. They're probably not that interested in this role if they have absolutely no questions for the interviewee. I should also say that in our organization, and particularly with hiring attorneys, all of our interviews are in person. We do phone screenings and video screenings and, all sorts of preparation that can be done remotely or on the phone or over video, but every interview has to be done in person. And I think that's incredibly important so you can really get the measure of a person. Now, for a crucial hire, for a director hire or someone who's going to be operationally in charge, I think you need more than just one interview, and hopefully interviews that might span a few hours, because there's going to be a lot to explore there with someone who's previously been in a leadership position and then is going to come into your organization that you're going to hope that they're going to have an impact. The last thing I would say is, particularly when you're interviewing attorneys, be mindful that they're very good at cross-examining you. They will oftentimes start to ask questions and try to take control of the interview, and that's fine. If they do that early in the interview where I want to hear from them and I want to explore their history, I'll say, hey, listen, there's going to be plenty of opportunity for you to ask me questions at the end of the interview. I'm going to save time so we can get to all of your questions, but I do want to get through mine first.
Thanks for listening to Running the Defense. Remember, while I am a lawyer, I'm not your lawyer. Unless we've signed something with a lot of small print and billable hours attached, there is no attorney-client relationship formed by you listening to this podcast. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only, so don't take it as legal advice, unless, of course, it helps you win an argument at dinner. See you next time.